Right now, while you're doing absolutely nothing wrong, someone is reaching into your bank account and quietly taking money out of it. Not a hacker, not a scam, and you'll never see it on a statement. The number in your account stays the same, but every single year it buys less. A dollar today buys about 6 cents of what it bought your great grandparents. That's not an accident, and it's not a glitch. It's called inflation. It's happening on purpose. And by the end of this, you'll understand the most invisible tax you will ever pay. Stick around. You already know this in your gut, even if you've never named it. It's every time an older relative says, "Back in my day, a movie ticket was a quarter and a soda was a nickel." It's every time you notice your grocery bill creeping up while the bags get lighter. It's the raise you fought for that somehow didn't make you feel any richer. That feeling that you're running to stay in the same place isn't in your head, it's math. And the reason isn't that everything is getting more expensive, it's that your money is getting weaker. Those are two very different things, and the difference is the whole story. Here's the mental flip that makes all of this click. We say prices are going up, but flip it around. A loaf of bread hasn't changed. It's the same flour, same size, same bread. What changed is how much your dollar is worth. The bread stayed still, the dollar shrank. And over time, that shrinking is brutal. Picture a single dollar in 1944. That dollar could buy you about 20 bottles of Coca-Cola. That same dollar 20 years later, a single drive-in movie ticket. Today, you're lucky to get a fraction of one soda. Put a real number on it. $1 from 1920 has the buying power of about 6 cents today. Prices are roughly 17 times higher than they were a century ago, which is another way of saying your dollar lost about 95% of its value. It didn't happen in a crash you'd notice. It happened a couple of percent a year, quietly, while everyone was looking at the number in their account and feeling fine. And this is why old salaries sound like a joke. Your grandparents talk about a good job that paid $5,000 a year like it meant something. And it did. A $50,000 salary in the year 2000 would need to be worth over $90,000 today just to buy the same life. If your pay stayed at 50, you didn't keep your salary. You lost almost half of it without anyone ever cutting your paycheck. So the real question isn't why do prices rise? It's why does my money keep shrinking? And the answer is almost stupidly simple. Imagine an island with 10 people and 10 gold coins. One coin buys one fish. Simple. Now imagine the island's king secretly prints 10 more coins for himself. Suddenly, there are 20 coins, but still the same number of fish. What happens? The fisherman isn't stupid. He sees everyone's got more coins, so he charges 2 coins per fish now. Nothing about the fish changed. There's just more money chasing the same stuff. So each coin is worth less. That, at its core, is inflation. When the amount of money grows faster than the amount of actual things to buy, every unit of money is worth a little less. And the way we even know this is happening is delightfully low tech. The government picks a giant basket of stuff a normal person buys: bread, rent, gas, a haircut, and checks the price of that exact basket over and over. When the basket costs more than it did last year, that percentage is the inflation rate. It's not a mysterious force. It's a shopping list priced once a year. And here's where it stops being a fairy tale. For most of history, dollars were tied to gold. You couldn't just print them because you needed the gold to back them up. Then in 1971, the United States cut that cord entirely. The dollar stopped being backed by gold and started being backed by trust, which meant, for the first time, there was no hard limit on how many dollars could exist. Governments print money to pay for wars, for crises, for spending they can't cover with taxes. Sometimes it's necessary. But every new dollar makes the ones in your mattress worth a sliver less. You didn't lose money. Your money got diluted. Now, here's the part that should make you sit up. You might assume everyone's trying to stop inflation. They're not. They're aiming for it. The people who manage the money supply, central banks like the Federal Reserve, have an official target of about 2% inflation every year, on purpose. They consider a slowly shrinking dollar to be a healthy economy. A little inflation nudges people to spend and invest instead of hoarding cash, and it quietly makes government debt easier to pay off over time. 2% sounds tiny. It isn't. At 2% a year, prices double in about 36 years. Your money loses half its power in a single working life, by design. And over the last couple of decades, it's run a bit hotter than that, closer to doubling every 28 years. That's why I called it the most invisible tax you'll ever pay. Nobody voted for it. It never shows up as a deduction. But here's the sneaky part. Inflation quietly picks winners and losers. If you're holding cash, you lose, a little every year. But if you owe money, a mortgage, a loan, a government sitting on trillions in debt, inflation is secretly on your side because you pay it back later with weaker dollars. The single biggest debtor on Earth is the government running the printer. Funny how that works. And if you want to see what this looks like when it spins out of control, history has receipts. In 1920s Germany, the government printed so much money that prices doubled every few days. People were paid twice a day, so they could spend before the cash lost value by evening. Money became so worthless that it was cheaper to burn stacks of it for heat than to buy firewood with it. Children played with bricks of cash in the street. Decades later, Zimbabwe printed a $100 trillion note, a single bill with 14 zeros, that couldn't buy a bus ticket. Same mechanism as your quiet 2%, just with the brakes cut. It's a reminder that the money in your pocket is only worth something because everyone agrees it is. And that agreement can be watered down fast. So bring it home to the jar under your mattress. Money sitting still, doing nothing, quietly loses roughly half its buying power over a couple of decades, which flips a piece of common sense on its head. Keeping all your money as cash isn't the safe choice. It's a slow, guaranteed leak. It also explains that raise that didn't feel like a raise. If prices went up 3% and your pay went up 2%, you didn't get a raise. You took a quiet pay cut and got a thank you card for it. This is why people put money into things that tend to grow faster than the dollar shrinks. Stocks, property, sometimes gold. Not because those are magic, and definitely not because I'm telling you to. This isn't financial advice. It's just the logic. If your money is on a slow escalator going down, standing still means sinking. Whether you do anything about it is entirely your call. But now at least you can see the escalator. And here's the thread that connects this to every scam we've covered on this channel. We've said it before. Value is just a story everyone agrees to believe. A diamond is precious because we agreed. A dollar is worth something for the exact same reason. It's a shared story. Inflation is simply that story being quietly rewritten, a couple of percent a year, in a language most people never learn to read. Now you can read it. Quick one for the comments. What's something you remember being way cheaper? A snack, a ticket, a bill that makes you feel ancient now? Drop it below and subscribe for more.